All right, so this is a quick video here, just a feature of Fish shell that I feel like I just learned about this weekend, but when I went to look at the docs, I had actually highlighted it before, so I had encountered it previously, completely forgot about it, love it. Here it is. So first off, I'm sitting inside of the examples directory here, and if I want to change directories, maybe I want to go to my home directory here so I can just use CD. Now, if I'd like to get back to that previous directory, of course, I could do CD and I could use minus to go back a directory. But it turns out there's another feature that you can use in the Fish shell. I can just hold on the Alt key and then left and right. You can see here, left goes to examples, right goes back to the home directory. And then maybe I change into a different directory here. I've got one called .files, of course. So now I've got a third directory. If I want to go back to the previous directory, the home directory, Alt-Left again brings it back to examples. Alt-right goes to home directory, Alt-right again goes back to .files. So inside of Fish shell, by default, out of the box, you have this feature that entails a directory history, and it's a two-way list, if you will. As you move through the history, it keeps track of the items that were to the right of it, as well as to the left of it, or previous and subsequent. And to see what this looks like here, if I use the durH function here, you can see the list. So on top here, examples, I've got them, my home directory, and then here's the .files. And of course, if I change into another directory inside of here, maybe Fish, and then this load last. Now, when I do the durH this time, you can see I've got 4 items in the history, kind of like a stack, except unlike a stack, it doesn't pop items as you move back. So if I go Alt-Left here, run my history again, you can see now I've got in the middle here, this is bolded, this is where I'm at, and I've got numbers in both directions. Of course, then I could use Alt and Left again here, that'll pop me back to my home directory, run the durH command again, and now you can see this is bolded right here, and now I've got 2 items behind me, if you will. And so I just absolutely love the fact that this is tied to the Alt keys, and you could just Alt-Left, Alt-Right to change directories without needing to type the CD command and even a minus or some number and have some other scheme to jump around. I don't even have to use the Z command that I use most of the time to jump around directories I've used before. Instead, if I was just in a directory I want, I could pop back to it, do something like a pwd cp, which in my case is set up to copy the working directory. And then I could Alt back, and maybe I want to copy a file out of that directory, so I could do a cp, paste that in, grab whatever file I want, copy it into the current directory. Makes it really easy to just go back and forth quickly. Of course, you can use the help function here in Fish to learn more about this. You could pass any of the commands we looked at, like durH here. Take a look at the help for that. And then from here, you could jump into this article about directory history. I think you can get to that directly as well with the help command. Do we have directory? No, that's interesting. I would have thought there was a help command for that. But anyways, you can jump here to an overview or guide about what exactly the directory history is. And it entails just a few paragraphs here. We saw durH already. There are some functions that are tied to moving forward and backwards, though those are already bound to a key, so you don't really need to use those. There's also a CDH, which you can use. So here's my durH right now. Instead of just going Alt, Left, and Right through these items, I could use CDH instead. It'll print out the list of directories here, and then I can pick a number. For example, I could pick number 3 if I want to go to the .files here, jump right to that. Though I think I was in that already, so that's not interesting. Run that again here. Now I could pick a different directory. If I know I want examples, I could use 2 there. I probably would just stick to using the Z command in that case, but it is an option to use CDH. And then the last thing I want to say here, if you're Alt, Left, and Right through your directories here, this is not going to work once you start to type in a command, and there's a good reason for it. Like maybe I want to start typing in a get commit here. If I do Alt, Left now, it doesn't change the directory. Instead, it just moves me to the front of the line. Whereas Alt, Right here, Alt-Right will actually accept the next word inside of the suggestion here. You can see the grayed out part. That's a suggested command from my command history. Alt-Right, in this case, accepts just the next word instead of the entire thing. And so if you want to use Alt, Left, and Right, you have to have nothing in your command line before you can move them between the directories.